Because YouTube is more broken than ever, if you want to see more Final Fantasy VII Remake, Kingdom Hearts, and The Legend of Zelda content, I'd really appreciate it if you can hit the bell after subscribing. That way you'll never miss another video again. It'd be ignorant to say that the success of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross isn't apparent. The story of the game is widely discussed on social media platforms like Twitter and Reddit, and with the game being free, it's gained a lot of downloads on mobile marketplaces like the App Store and the Google Play Store. However, anyone that considers themselves even relatively into the Kingdom Hearts community would be able to tell that the number of Kingdom Hearts fans that still actively play the game in 2020 is significantly less than what it was years ago. Now, something like this may seem obvious enough to most people as the game has been out for years now, especially when you factor in the former Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key. But here's what seriously needs to be considered here. Kingdom Hearts Union Cross is what's called a gacha game. And I know there are some who may be unfamiliar with the term, so basically, a gacha game is a video game where the core mechanic revolves around the gacha mechanic that acts similarly as a capsule toy vending machine. While completing missions, doing the story, and overall just playing the game, you accumulate an in-game currency where you'll be able to use said money to buy a randomized item in the game. And what that item is will greatly depend on the game you're playing, of course. And for the game of topic, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, you'll be able to earn medals that will be able to be utilized in the game's battles. This has proved to be a very popular system, as many mobile games have gone down this route, as developers are constantly adding in new additional items that can be gotten. And when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, seeing a medal displaying KH3 Sora and it allowing me to lay waste to enemy Heartless as my own personalized Kingdom Hearts character is certainly appealing. There's just a serious problem I believe that Union Cross has that's made many Kingdom Hearts fans just choose to watch the story cutscenes online instead of playing the games themselves. And that problem is the core of the game itself, the gameplay. Well, blaming the gameplay isn't the 100% cause for this, in my own opinion. It's honestly everything outside of the gacha mechanic itself. And before any Union Cross lover starts trying to hate on me, at least hear me out on what I have to say. You see, what people love so much about Kingdom Hearts isn't just the story, as many may have you believe. There's a sense of satisfaction that these games provide to you that you can only get by playing these games. That's why Kingdom Hearts games that are over a decade old are still being played and replayed by people every day. Kingdom Hearts Union Cross as a Kingdom Hearts game fails to replicate what made the gameplay of Kingdom Hearts feel so much fun. Of course, this isn't me saying there's no fun to be had with what's here, it's just that the kind of fun you get from Union Cross's current gameplay is different than the fun you'll have playing KH2, for example. Kingdom Hearts Union Cross goes for a completely different style, relying on turns and limited moves with your medals, where you'd be able to move around the arena and attack it however much you'd like in a normal Kingdom Hearts game. In Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, you're limited to attacking one of the enemies on screen and can only attack with the amount of medals you have equipped, which is honestly, well, kind of lame. And I know there's more technicalities around it. Some medals will let you hit all enemies on screen or the two directly in this direction, but either way, it's still much more limited than what the console variations of these games actually offer us. It's not what many fans want when playing a game like Kingdom Hearts. And yes, while Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories also had a very similar style with its card mechanics, excluding the whole gacha system, that game is also generally disliked amongst most fans as well, as a lot of people that I even know in my own personal lives who've gone through the Kingdom Hearts series even chose in the end to just watch the cutscenes online for that game instead of actually diving in and playing the game to its completion on their own. This is not something I feel that should be happening with the Kingdom Hearts series. Even from a company's perspective, it doesn't make too much sense in my eyes. I feel Square Enix should have reconsidered how to take advantage of the rising popularity of gacha mobile games while also not risking fans feeling alienated by structuring the game too differently than its most popular games, making Kingdom Hearts Union Cross look and play like a Kingdom Hearts game in a similar vein as KH2 or even the most recent KH3, while having gacha mechanics integrated within should have been this game's goal. And this has become all too apparent with the release of the new gacha game, Genshin Impact. If you're on the internet in any form or fashion, you've likely heard or at least seen something regarding this game. Even as a viewer of this channel, you've likely seen my life being sucked away by how enticing this game is. When just watching gameplay here as you all are right now, it's probably hard to tell that this is even a gacha game, especially when seeing the quality of a majority of gacha games on your mobile devices. The game is stunning, being made in the Unity game engine. The quality of its open world in many people's eyes, if social media feedback is enough to go by, rivals that of even Zelda Breath of the Wild. While yes, this game is open world, it still utilizes a familiar format of JRPGs. This one specifically is an action RPG, just like Kingdom Hearts. While the combat is not exactly the same as that series, any Kingdom Hearts fan should be able to find enjoyment out of playing this game, as it also relays a similar satisfaction as Kingdom Hearts games when playing it. Not to mention, it's completely free. As you travel across its world, you'll come across enemy camps of monsters known as hilly churls, or even magic-wielding bandits that you'll be able to combat against to earn rewards to level up your characters, their weapons, and their other equipment. You'll need to stay on top of that because just like any action RPG, the world contains many strong bosses that you have to employ strategy against in order to defeat. And unlike Kingdom Hearts, instead of relying on a party that fights together at once, you control the central character and can swap between your party members at the push of a button to chain combo effects upon your enemies. For example, I can use Barbara here to utilize her special water magic to inflict the wet status upon an enemy. Now by itself, that doesn't really do too much, but if I inflict that status upon them, then I quickly switch to Kaya. I can use its ice abilities and freeze the wet enemies solid. And if you're fast enough, I can even take it a step further by switching then to Shanling and use her fire magic to melt the enemies. Things like this, in my opinion, make the gameplay of Genshin Impact so intimate, I've honestly just fallen in love with it. Even more so that this game actually includes co-op with friends, so while it's limited in some areas, once you're at adventure level 16, you're free to explore the world, take on boss fights, beat dungeons, and more, all together with your best pals. I'm currently adventure level 30 and playing with my friends Prodigy XCD and Jaden2602 has been an honest to goodness amazing experience. But now I think it's time I push all that aside and go ahead and dive headfirst into the gacha mechanics of this specific game and look at them in comparison to Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. So of course, this game being a gacha game, as you explore the world, whether it's discovering treasure chests, activating teleport waypoints across the huge map, completing missions, fighting bosses, and so on and so forth, you'll accumulate an in-game currency called Primo Gems, just like the jewels in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, that you'll use to summon playable characters that can be added to your party. As I said before, playing the game naturally will earn you many of these Primo Gems, so you'll never actually need to spend real-world money to be able to summon characters. What makes the Primo Gem system so good is that similarly to Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, you get them from practically everything you do in the game. Playing missions, beating bosses, exploring the world, doing side quests, doing the main story, beating regular enemies, solving puzzles, opening treasure chests that you find in the world. So doing these things over and over will net you a great bit of them. And thankfully with Genshin Impact's fair summoning formula, you're never gonna go a super long period of summons without a guaranteed 5-star. While you will see people online saying they spend hundreds or even over $1,000 doing pulls, that's on those people's own volition. You have to buy those things before you actually do the pulls. So I don't understand why someone would pay so much money for so many pulls when the game is going to guarantee you a 5-star character within a certain amount of time regardless. So I just feel it's kind of unfair to claim that the game has forced you to pay all this money when no, the game gives you all the assets you need to play the game normally without spending a dime. But anyways, outside of the summoning aspect of the gacha system, there's another aspect of it that's not as prevalent at first. As you play the game, you'll find yourself refighting boss fights as, for one, they're really fun, and two, you'll want to grind for the rewards that they drop. Each boss drops different things, so doing this is important. But to fight many of these bosses, it costs resin, which you get free every day, but playing in long sessions can see you running short on these. And while you can certainly use the fragile resin item to replenish 60 of them, but the higher level you get, the more you'll be using these items, which in turn is where you can choose to buy more more with real-world money, a player is free to make that choice as long as they know the game provides a solution to it by playing more of the game. But sometimes immediate answers are more appealing to some people, so I'm not going to hate on whatever choice that you choose to make. Many gacha games, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross included, all have similar aspects to this, and while Genshin has footing where it's impossible to misstep, unlike Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, as Genshin is the only game of its name, so there's no prequels or sequels to Genshin Impact specifically, so it can't be known as not like its other games or even simply alienate its audience. Kingdom Hearts Union Cross needs a rework in a similar style to Genshin Impact, to where the game looks and plays much like what the series is known for. This would not only keep the players who want the canon story to stay engaged, but also keep the people who play Kingdom Hearts for its gameplay happy and playing as well. This rework wouldn't need to be an open world game like Genshin, just keep the similar notes from the current Union Cross with its mission style format and with the worlds they go to. With Square and Disney backing the project, I've no doubt they could make the Disney worlds in a familiar way we've seen in the past too. This way, it wouldn't alienate people who love this aspect of Kingdom Hearts and would increase the daily play activity with the daily missions that can be done in various worlds, and implementing the medal system in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross can be reworked in a flashy super attack style that's temporarily even summons the characters from the medals instead of just taking the place as regular attacks. Just a thought at least, I'm not a game developer. But at the end of the day, I'm proud of how much success Kingdom Hearts Union Cross has had. It's just that as a Kingdom Hearts fan, it sucks that there's an MMO styled mobile game for the series that lets you create your own character that I frankly just don't enjoy playing. As now I've witnessed, which is essentially the first AAA gacha game and certainly the best of its kind. I can't help but want this same beautiful format for a series that means so much to me. And with that, have you all played Genshin Impact? And if you have, would you agree that Kingdom Hearts Union Cross could benefit from this style? Based on the results of the community tab poll, it seems like most of you agree with me. And for those of you guys that haven't tried out Genshin Impact yet, are you considering playing it? It's completely free to download on PS4, PC, or Android and mobile devices. So it doesn't matter what kind of phone you got as long as it can download apps. And if you have a PS4 or PC, why not at least try it out? I really recommend it. It's a fantastic game. It starts off a bit simpler, but a few hours in, you'll be exploring the world and its combat and just getting lost in its depth. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is KingdomAce, and remember, my warriors of courage, to stay strong, stay beautiful, and to always look skyward.